And now, in studio, bringing his Midwest values from the Show Me State to the land of San Diego. He's a triple threat, licensed as an attorney, mortgage broker, and a top producing realtor who's crushing the competition. Here to deliver you what's happening in the trenches of the market. Your host, Michael Gaddis.
You like it?
Should I turn this around?
Yeah, just flip it.
Yeah, that was pretty good little commercial.
Welcome back to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of FrontierLoanGroup.com, and all that interference is from Monica Caraballo, who just moved the microphone. So anyway, Monica's coming in today to talk to us a little bit about reverse mortgages. And one of the things she wants to talk about today is how a lot of seniors now are utilizing reverse mortgages as a retirement tool. So, Monica, I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Michael, for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So, what do you want to talk about today? How can a reverse mortgage be used as a retirement financial tool?
There's so many ways that reverse mortgages can be used as a financial tool. I mean, when you look at retirement opportunities and you look at strategy for preparing for retirement, you look, let's say you have an IRA, you have a 401k, you have your Social Security pension, and any savings that you've acquired over the years. Well, you've had a mortgage, and you've had your mortgage for a substantial amount of time. You're 62 years old, but you just sat down with your financial planner and she or he dropped the bomb on you that you can't retire for another 5 years. Devastating. You planned your whole entire life to retire at 62 with your partner and you can't now. So you look at what opportunities. I have to get creative, and I look at my assets that I may have. And you have a home that you've lived in for, let's say, 15, 20 years. Well, you leverage that and you transition your mortgage to a reverse mortgage, and you make your dreams happen now. You get to travel now, you get to retire now, you don't have to wait for 5 years.
Well, you know, and that it's something where years ago financial planners in general were kind of looking negatively at reverse mortgages. And I think a lot of that has to do with misinformation, just not truly understanding how it works or how the mechanism works. And I think a lot of financial planners are starting to change their tune regarding reverse mortgages. And I think you're right. I think as you look at your portfolio and you see what you have and what you don't have, right now people are starting to look at their house as an asset, like their IRA or their 401k or whatever they might have, as a way to say, hey, look, I've worked hard my whole life. I want to find a way to live a good quality of life without stressing. And I think that's what this opportunity gives you.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, there's a reason why we refer to the golden years as golden years. It should be a time where you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And when you look at the largest investment in your life, it is your home. And I think that we're seeing a shift in thought process when we look at homes, because it is an investment and it's a way to prepare for your future. And at 62 years old, the future is now.
Right. I mean, that's a good point, because everyone always, and I think it's just human nature, we're always thinking that, okay, well, the future, we still have the future, we still have this time. You know, and as I learn, and even on the way to the radio show today, I had a little shocking, eye-awakening experience, because on the way to the show today, I was on the 5 going south, and all of a sudden I noticed traffic built up. So I get all upset. I'm like, I can't believe this. I'm going to be late. What's going on here? And as I got closer to what was causing it, I saw them putting somebody onto a stretcher and putting him into the back of an ambulance. And I thought, you know what? I've got to really, one, keep things in perspective, and two, not take for granted my time that I have. I mean, I'm sure that person who was put into that ambulance did not think in a split second that they were going to be on a stretcher going to a hospital at this point. So I guess the point of that is you know, we always want to say the future, the future, the future, but what we need to really do is say, hey, how can we now live a better quality of life? How are we better able to retire and enjoy the years that we have left? Because, you know, you don't want to sit there and say, I'm going to wait until I'm older and older and older until I, let's say, travel, like what Robert was telling us in the previous segment. You want to just kind of just say, you know what, I want to do now, or I want to try to make the best quality of life I can while I'm physically able to do it. And I think that reverse mortgages really allow you that opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I recently worked with a client who, she was $600 short a month from what she needed to net to retire. The reverse mortgage allowed her to do that. Not only that, she was able to get from the mortgage a monthly stipend and your payment of $1,000.
Oh, wow.
So even more than she anticipated, giving her additional freedom and liberty to enjoy these golden years.
Well, you know what's interesting? Once somebody says, well, I don't like to use reverse mortgages because I'm using the equity in my house. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If you're using your IRA, you're getting payments out of your IRA, you're using your IRA and it's going down. So it's one of those things. And the good thing about houses versus an IRA, well, there's two good things about reverse mortgages. One is they are based on your appraised value. So if you get a reverse mortgage, there's always the opportunity that your house could go up to help offset any of the amount of money you're deferring, but your IRA can't.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a huge thing right there.
And there's ways to gain money through a reverse mortgage and interest.
Right.
And people don't know about that. So the way I see it, there's three good ways that you can leverage reverse mortgages to allow your money to work for you.
Right, and one of the things I think you're referring to is the line of credit. And
Absolutely.
the line of credit to me is the most amazing aspect of the reverse mortgage program.
It's one of the best parts of the reverse mortgage program. I agree 100% because that allows you to gain a higher yield of interest in most savings accounts.
Oh, it surely does. I know I've had people who have actually, I've been giving a reverse mortgage to. I gave a proposal to them. They gave it to their financial advisor. I show them the line of credit growth, the growth rate, and then the financial advisor is like, well, wait a minute. You might want to think about taking some of your money and from your savings that you got in the bank and buying down your principal balance and give yourself a bigger line of credit in your reverse mortgage. And I'm not necessarily advocating that people do that, but what I'm saying is that's how people are looking at it because it is such a powerful tool for you to have.
That's just allowing your assets to work for yourself. Leveraging your dollars for you. And I think that exact point is what we're seeing financial planners' mindsets transition to, is they're looking at the return saying, wait a minute, this makes sense. We're going to integrate this part of your portfolio.
Well, it's funny. I had a lady one time. She asked me to come to her house and give her a proposal, and she said that she wanted her son to be there. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay. And she said her son, he wasn't a financial planner, but he was somehow in the industry, and she didn't explain to me really why, but she really wanted me to be there. And she told me, she goes, he's a little stubborn. And I said, okay. She goes, make sure he understands. So I go to her house, and of course he's there, and he gives me this dirty look right when I walk in there. He's like, no, there's no way. He goes, there's no way that my mom's going to do this. And I said, well, let's talk about it for a minute before you say that. So we sat down at the table, and of course he was real standoffish, so I kind of stopped him. And I said, let me ask you a question. I said, how much do you really know about your mother's financial situation? And he says, well, I know enough. And I'm like, okay, you know enough, and I know everything because I have the numbers, and I'm a mathematical guy. I believe that math rules the universe. I see exactly how much money she has coming in, and I see exactly how much her expenses are. And I said, do you know that she is negative every month? And do you know that she has been subsidizing from her savings every single month? And he was like, well, I should probably pay more. I said, you should pay more attention because as I see it, you only have a few options. Number one is you do nothing and just let her go into oblivion because pretty soon she's not going to have savings left and there's not going to be a thing there left for her at all. Number two, you could help her, support her. You could, instead of giving supporting her in a reverse mortgage, you could supplement income to her to help her live a quality of life. Or number three, you can help support her right now, and you can, in this decision to get a reverse mortgage, you can keep an open mind and look at these numbers and see what we can do to help her. Because the last option, I guess I would say, is that she moves in with you, and you help support her because she can't do it on her own. It's not me trying to sell a reverse mortgage. This is reality. She leans on you because she trusts you, and now I'm asking you to live up to that trust and listen to what I have to say and look at her numbers and see if I'm not telling you the truth, that something needs to be done. She doesn't have 401k, she doesn't have IRAs, she just has Social Security, and she has her savings, and it is getting eaten up at a high rate, and she only has a finite number of months left before she hits ground zero.
And his response was,
let's look at the reverse mortgage.
oh, I bet.
Tell me about it. That's what he did, because he realized, it's like I get this stubbornness because, well, no. But I know what the reality is. The reality is that, some people, it's a foreign concept to some people. They're not used to it.
It requires some education, and I think once you sit down with the client and their family, financial planner, whoever's part of their team, so to speak, you see that the obstacles and objections to why they were against it become very apparent that this makes all good sense.
Right.
You mentioned a good point, is that this woman was gathering $600 a month or pulling $600 from savings. And that's at that person's current situation. We haven't taken into account as the aging process continues, advanced medical costs, increased co-pays, things of that nature, or needs.
That's right.
And so that is something that when we work with families, we always say anticipation of future costs.
No, and I think that's a very good point that you make, that, and I could have mentioned that to him. I could have said, look, this is what her situation is now. In 5 years, it could be worse.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, and it's just, when I sit with people and I see people in all sorts of conditions. I mean, a lot of homeowners, the senior, elderly, they have paid off houses or nearly paid off houses, but are trying to survive, let's say, on purely Social Security, and they just can't do it. They literally are prisoners in their own house, and it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, it is really, really, really sad.
It is sad. It's sad to see that you could go into a home of a person who worked many years and have their house nearly paid off, but they have so much deferred maintenance, and they're living in conditions that you wouldn't put your mother or grandmother in.
Well, after the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about reverse mortgages and deferred maintenance, because I think Monica brings up a very good point. You're listening to Michael Gaddis of FrontierLoanGroup.com on AM 1170, The Answer.
Do you stop?